If we want honest responses, then people have to believe that their privacy and their data is going to be protected.
4% of people say they trust the government. 7% of people say they trust the media.
Even if you agree with Vivek here, 4% trust in government struck me as very low. So that made me curious to see where he was getting his figures from. It's this, the Social Pressure Index survey by Populus. This is a private opinion research study. The purpose of this study is to figure out what people really believe versus what they actually say they believe. The point of studying this is that often people will hold their tongue because of social pressure or fear of being stigmatized, particularly around sensitive issues like politics. This study actually found that 58% of people believe that others don't really say what they mean, and 61% of people actually report that they have self-censored due to fear of being stigmatized. What this is called is social desirability bias, and this exists even in privately conducted interviews, where people try to appease the interviewer by telling them what they think is the socially acceptable position on the issue they're being questioned about. It happens less so in online surveys where you're not confronted with a person face-to-face asking you a question, but even then it can have an effect. So how did the Social Pressure Index study mitigate this bias? Well, in this case, it surveyed around 20,000 people of different demographic groups, and it used something called a list experiment. A list experiment is a form of indirect questioning which is used to minimize social desirability and non-response bias by concealing respondent answers to sensitive items. So for each demographic, what Populus did is randomly assign the participants in that demographic into a control group and a treatment group. Both groups were provided with a set of statements, and they were asked if they agree or disagree with those statements. Both groups had the same set of statements, except that in the treatment or experimental group, there was one additional statement. In this case, the statement was, "Do you trust the government?" They hide the statement of interest amidst other more innocuous statements, thus reducing the stress associated with admitting that they agree to that statement. And then rather than asking them directly to agree or disagree, they ask them for the number of statements that they agreed with. This means that they don't have to directly identify their agreement with it, and they just provide a number. So the respondents to these questions in each demographic were randomly assigned between a control group and a treatment group. And because it was done randomly, we can take the difference, the average difference in the number of agreed statements between the two groups, and infer that this reflects the fact that people privately believe in the statement of interest, in this case, trusting in the government. The point is that people change their behavior when they suspect that they're being observed or that their answers might ultimately get out and be attributed to them. This is a big problem, right? Because if we want honest responses, then people have to believe that their privacy and their data is going to be protected. That's precisely why we at Sentiment are building a system that does just that. It protects you and your identity from being revealed and gives you confidence that you can speak honestly on the topics that matter to you.